Hey, Undisputed listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com now. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. My old guy, B.A., at it again.
Yeah, we need to change the name of this show to Brady Hate. That's what it is. Brady Hate.
Is B.A. hate no Brady?
I'd say so. Has any superstar ever been more criticized than Tom Brady?
Feels like lately on this show, we always have something to talk about. Well, Bruce Arians, yes, he is at it again, guys. He has plenty to say about Tom Brady. So here's the thing, as Shannon likes to say, B.A., he's never shied away from publicly criticizing Tom Brady after games, and it continued after the Bucs lost to the Rams Monday night. Brady had a tough night, throwing deep, which included 2 interceptions. And yesterday, Arians said, quote, "We don't miss the deep ball in practice, that's for sure." The Bucs coach continued saying, "We've had the guys open, we've just missed them." And to drive home the point that there is work to be done on game day, he finished by saying, quote, "It's not a lack of confidence, it's a lack of continuity." Shannon, do you have a problem with anything he said?
Skip, I kind of feel bad because we've had this conversation, I know at least 4 times, because that's how many games they've lost. And when they lose a ball game, B.A. is openly and very, very critical.
Scathing.
Of Tom Brady's performance. And this is, as you mentioned earlier, is that this is something that we haven't seen a head coach do to a historically transcendent quarterback. That doesn't normally happen. Now, I'm sure there have been conversations behind closed doors between Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, maybe Chuck Noll, Terry Bradshaw.
You better believe it.
There were conversations behind closed doors, but never publicly. But, Skip, this is who B.A. is. Skip, the quarterback head coach is a relationship. It's like a marriage. And you talk sometime about your marriage to Ernestine. And you told her from the beginning, Ernestine, this is who I am. My job is very important. I'm going to watch sports. And the bigger the sporting event, the more apt I'm going to stay home and watch it. And we're not going to be able to go to dinner. We're not going to be able to go to the movies.
I went so far as to say it will always be number one.
Okay.
She now says that she's a co-number one, and I'll give her that.
She's one here, one. Yeah, okay. Right. But here's the thing, though, Skip. She says, okay. She knew what she was getting into. She signed up for it. Tom Brady knew who B.A. was.
Well, Skip, did he? Did he know this was coming?
Skip, how many times did he do this to Jameis? We can't turn the ball over. I don't know what he saw. He just, the bad read, it was a terrible. See,
it wasn't in the spotlight like this is now.
I think the thing is that because of Brady's success, his past success, people feel he's beyond reproach, that you shouldn't be. And Skip, like I said, I think because we've never seen it like this.
But quick question, is the position beyond reproach?
No.
Should it be?
No.
Should it be an untouchable, uncriticizable publicly by the head coach? Should you just refrain from public criticism of the hardest position to play in all of sports?
Skip, probably if you and I think a lot of times is that you and I, that's just the way it's been coached. It's been coached that way for so long, but B.A. says, no, I can't do. And Coach Belichick was just, Coach Belichick, even though he did it in front of the team, he never had a criticism. You know, he says, hey, we need a quarterback, need to play. Everybody needs to play better. I need to coach better. So, but I think the thing is, Skip, is that once we get past that, the Tom Brady that we saw 5 or 6 years ago, he's not there. There was a saying that Tom Brady does more with less. Now Tom Brady does less with more. It's hard for me to see somebody that has more talent from the skill set position than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that's getting less. Would you agree with that?
Well, they are 7-4.
No, I'm talking about statistically.
Yeah.
I understand what their record is, but you told me they're going to be 13-3, 12, 14-2.
Well, through 9 games, Tom Brady led this whole league in what are called big-time plays, 20-plus yard completions.
What did he get?
Well, it got him to 7-3. And wait a second, the Bucs last year were 7-9. So through 10 games, he got this franchise exactly as far as they were all of last year through 16 games.
But Skip, the thing is that what BA is having a hard time adjusting to is that he's a big play head coach. Push the ball down the field. Let's get those big plays. And that's not Tom's game. Skip, I said from the very beginning, if you bring this guy in, let him run his offense.
Okay.
Let him do what he does. Skip, he's a quick screen game, run game guy.
Okay.
Now you turn him into big play, big play. No, that's not him.
Okay, just quick point.
Yes.
Weeks 1 through 7, Brady completed 43% of his 20 or more yard passes.
Right.
That'll work.
Yes.
The last 3 weeks, how about 5.3%? The last 3 weeks. Has something changed over the last 3 weeks? Did they add a player over the last 3 weeks?
They did. They did. I think the thing is also, Skip, is that he keeps saying, well, we don't miss those throws in practice. BA, you do know they're not like trying to hit your quarterback in practice. There's a big difference, Skip, in come practice.
And I don't know if he's going against scout team practice squad or if occasionally they let him go against the first team defense.
Normally in 2 minutes, you go against the first team defense.
I got it. Well, what's been happening to the first team defense in the last 2 games? They've been getting torched.
Well, maybe
Am I right?
Maybe they're not giving Brady a good picture.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Go ahead.
But Skip, at the end of the day, this is who BA is. And I think Tom has come to the realization. Tom has probably just thrown his hands up, said, you know what? This is who he is. Let it go. Skip, when he was in New England, he and Coach Belichick were in a marriage. They were in a relationship. And I have friends, not I have friends and ex-teammates that got divorced once the kid got to college.
Yep.
Coach Belichick.
I got a bunch of those friends.
Coach Belichick and Tom Brady got divorced when the kids were grown, when the kids got to college, and the kids are Super Bowls. Yep. Coach Belichick believed that he could no longer win Super Bowls with Tom Brady. I want a divorce. Well, in this relationship is just getting started. When you start, Tom, if you're going to get in this relationship, you better understand what the other party brings, because you can't get in and say he's doing this all alone and then get up, man, I ain't know he was like that. He was exactly like that. Ask Jameis. Ask all of his other quarterbacks, with the exception of Peyton, who was a rookie, Big Ben, who was a rookie. But all of his other quarterbacks, when you F up on BA's watch, he going to let you know. It's simple as that, Skip. Would I do it this way? Absolutely not. Okay. Back to Bill Belichick. According to numerous expatriates that I worked with at the other network, Belichick could be scathing in his criticism of Tom Brady behind closed doors. Right. Scathing, sarcastic, dismissive, treated him like a backup quarterback. Right. And yet, this is public. And so I have one question about this relentless scathing criticism of Arians. After each loss, he just piles on. This is an assault, Skip.
Yes, it's an all-out assault. What does it accomplish? That's all I want to know. If you can show me, it achieves this goal, then I'll say, I didn't think of that. Help me out. What does it accomplish? What BA is doing is saying, it's not my offense. Thank you. It only accomplishes this guy. Painting you guys bad. This guy's saying, don't look at me, man. I don't know. In practice, he never misses. In games, and it opens the door for, is he choking? Right. Is he crumbling under the spotlight at age 43 with a new pewter uniform on? Can he not live up to the bright lights? But Skip, what did he say open against New Orleans? He's like, he made all the throws that he missed against New Orleans opening day. He was making those throws in practice. He started this from week 1. It's all about, don't blame me. I don't even call the plays. He even went so far yesterday as to say, hey, he calls most of his own plays, or we let him pick the plays he wants on the sideline during the game as they go to the next series. Right. He's telling Byron Leftwich, I like this, 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 and this, according to Bruce Arians.
Right.
So Bruce is like, don't look at me. I have nothing to do with this.
But still,
right?
Even he's picking the plays that he likes, but that's not his offense. You're still asking him to push the ball down the field.
It's not Tom's offense.
Right.
I agree. So let's not underestimate what I just brought up. You at 7-3, you have tried to insert into the mix on offense that was working at a pretty high level with all the numbers I just gave you. You tried to throw Antonio Brown into the middle of this. Not only does he have a huge personality, he has a huge presence on the field and in the huddle. Numerous times the other night, they had quick cutaways of AB and Tom going back and forth. And you know what AB was saying? I got him. I'm open. I can run this. I got him on this. It's hard on the quarterback because the quarterback loves little Antonio.
Right.
And he would like nothing better than to connect with little Antonio on a deep ball that would just open Pandora's box of deep balls.
Right.
He is obviously in a slump right now over the last 3 games, especially the last 2 games, trying to get somebody deep.
Right.
And he did throw the one, I think it was in the 3rd quarter the other night.
Right.
But they tried the one deep ball to Antonio. I think we still have that. We showed it the other day. We showed it Monday.
Of the left side.
Yeah, but it's just, this is how close it was. It's a good throw. It's just like, it's off his fingertips. Right. And BA says, we can't have balls going off fingertips. Well, is that a bad throw? Should it have been 6 inches shorter? Yeah, you could argue, but the DB's going to get a hand on it.
Exactly.
Right?
And plus, Skip, I mean, he make it seem like AB 6'5".
What is he?
Small.
Is he 5'10"?
5'10".
Okay.
That's the thing. That's why you like big receivers, because you got a bigger catch radius.
Okay. So I have contended with you all year long. I don't see any loss of arm strength. In fact, his biggest issue has been overthrows, right? Maybe he's trying to fire back at critics literally by everything's going long. The last pass to Cameron Brate, he just airmails it to Fuller.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, is that what we're seeing is that he's like, he doesn't want to miss. And the thing is that he used the ball coming out and, 10 and under, he's pinpoint.
Yep.
But as the ball gets deeper and down the field, the accuracy comes down.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to miss short because it's picked.
All right. So back to what are we accomplishing here? To me, the only thing you're accomplishing with your criticism is you're planting new seeds of doubt in the minds of everybody else in the locker room. He's not buying Tom. Like he doesn't believe in him. He doesn't trust him under the brightest lights, prime time. And yet, to me, it's all about that guy's ego. It's about Bruce Arians' ego. And what did he do to earn the ego? Well, he inherited 4 quarterbacks that it's not like he went and picked them, but he had Peyton, and he had Luck, and he had Roethlisberger, and he had Carson Palmer.
Right.
Well, 3 of those 4 were the first overall pick in the draft, Peyton, Luck, and Carson Palmer. And Roethlisberger was the 11th pick in the draft, but that's because everybody else missed because he should have been, you could argue.
He went to Miami of Ohio. Had he gone to one of these big...
Okay, because arguably he should have been the first pick in the draft. Okay, so how great do you have to be as an offensive coordinator to coach those guys? Not very great.
Right.
Could I do okay coaching those guys? I probably could.
Right.
Because they're really gifted. All 4 of them in their own ways are extremely gifted. So Bruce Arians, as a head football coach in this league, is 1-2 in the playoffs. Right. Obviously, Brady is 30-11 with 6 rings, 6 game-winning drives, 4th quarter and overtime and Super Bowls. Played in 9, easily could have won 2 more Super Bowls, and has played 3 of the greatest AFC championship games we have ever seen, because you know what he did coming back against Jacksonville, and that was the only shot Belichick ever took at him was after that game, because he played with about 20 stitches in the palm of his throwing hand. Right. They're down 20-10 in the 4th quarter, and he brings them back with 124 yards passing, 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. And afterwards, Belichick's asked about the stitches, and he said, well, it wasn't exactly open heart surgery. That was the only public criticism I ever heard from Bill Belichick of Tom Brady. Right. Then, obviously, he converts the 3 straight 3rd and 10s in Kansas City. In overtime, they go down and score. Mahomes doesn't even get to touch the football. Right. And then there was the Deflategate game in which they are accused at halftime of deflating the footballs. And with legally inflated footballs. In the second half, Brady comes out and says, okay, watch this. And he goes 12 of 14 for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they just blow Indy off the field, okay?
Right. Correct.
Okay, so that's his track record. That's his resume. He is the unquestioned, to me, GOAT. You still have your doubts occasionally, but I think you pretty much acknowledge he's the GOAT.
Tom is where it's at.
All right. So it's where it's at is Tom Brady, and he has to be sitting back today saying, I can't get a bleeping break. If I know Brady off camera, he would use the bleeping word, okay?
Yes.
I can't get a bleeping break because I've gone from the frying pan into the fire.
Right.
The frying pan was all off camera, behind closed doors, Bill Belichick. I needed to get out of there, and I thought BA was going to be fun to play for, and he's probably fun to practice with and be around day to day. And then after games, his ego runs away. And remember, this is the first time, what is he, 68, I think?
Right.
This is the first time in his whole career, he's been in this league for about 30 years, where he's been in the spotlight.
Right.
This is a big spotlight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about his ego running unchecked. And I've told you, my biggest concerns going forward for the Bucs are, number one, Bruce Arians, because I think he's going to screw it up. Number two, the defense is horrifying me because the defense just gave up almost 80% completions to Drew Brees, and followed by Jared Goff in big back-to-back home night games. It's a bad sign this late in the year. My third concern is Tom Brady. Well, so he's number one right now, and he just keeps digging this hole deeper and deeper.
Yeah, well, for me to hear a head coach and talk about a Brady or a Manning or a Breeze and say, well, he got confused by the coverage. No. Tom Brady.
Yeah, and he did. He went so far as to say he's getting confused by the coverage.
No, Skip.
Confused by the coverage?
He's making some bad reads. He's not confused. Tom knows the ball to break he should have never threw. That ain't no confused by no coverage. You know it's single high safety. I can't throw that. I got to go elsewhere. He knows the one up the rail, Skip. He can't throw the safety is cheated to his side. He needs to work the bottom. That's not confused. Skip, let me tell you what happens. As a player starts to age and he plays offense in a skill position, the longer you play, the less you want to get hit. Tom is throwing where he believes, because once they started getting to him, he I got to get rid of the football. As long as you let him sit back there, Skip, he'll go 1, 2, 3, ball's gone. But when you start, he's like, I got to get rid of this ball because I don't want to get hit. That's just natural. Trust me, I don't care how great you are. As we age, them licks hurt a little more.
Okay,
Skip.
and obviously at 43, your survival instincts are going to kick in to where you say, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way.
Right. So the 3 throws that he made, 1 should have been picked, the 2 were picked. Skip, he should have never threw those balls.
Okay, I got it. But here's the problem. Remember, over the last 3 years in New England, the equation was so much simpler. It's almost like doing arithmetic versus algebra, because the arithmetic was, I'm looking for Julian, and if he's not open on a little underneath option route, I'm going to flip it to James White. There's a lot of that going on where most of the plays revolved around Edelman or James White, right?
And that's the thing, though, Skip. He's not looking deep to short. Everything is short to deep.
Okay, got it. So now you have 2 Pro Bowl receivers, and you like the heck out of both of them, and you want both of them to get 10 targets, but you don't have the arithmetic is not working because it's turned into algebra because, wait a second, I need to get him 10, but maybe I'll get them both 7, which he usually does, right? Now Antonio needs 7. Well, how are you going to make that work when you really don't have a James White? You're trying to make Leonard Fournette James White, and he's like 240 pounds.
No, he's not James White.
And he's got iffy hands. Like he dropped 3 balls the other night, so you lost your safety valve.
But Skip, he caught the ball well last year in Jacksonville, and just all of a sudden,
I don't know.
He got the yips or something.
I don't know. He got the yips, okay? So now Brady might have some mental yips going on because he's trying to process, oh, wait a second. My friend, my soulmate, Rob Gronkowski's here. Well, can I get him 4 targets a game? And the truth is, he's starting to fall in love with Cameron Brate because he's trustable. He's a little more athletic with better hands right now than Gronk has. Because he's gotten beat up. He's up there, okay? So he's starting to lean toward Cameron Brate, which is why he fired the ball up the seam, trying to force it into him.
Gronk wasn't even in the game on that.
I don't think he was. So I think he's starting to lean toward Cameron Brate. Well, how many options can a man have in his head when you're up against 2 of the best pass rushes in football, New Orleans and Rams, right? Are those 2 of the top
Defensive line. Those
Right?
didn't come get you.
Okay.
Because we just saw what New Orleans did to Atlanta with 8 sacks and 2 picks. We saw what they did to Tom Brady, 2 weeks earlier.
Okay.
I think they got, 4 or 5 sacks on him and the Rams.
And even worse, are not the defensive backfields of the Saints and the Rams up there near the top?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So start the clock in your head and put 3 seconds on it, maybe 2.5 seconds, and try to decide Mike Evans or Godwin or Gronk or Cameron Brate or Fournette or AB. AB's screaming for the ball. I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm open. I'm open. Right?
Skip, the reason why he goes to AB is that what does AB does really well is the short stuff. He's tremendous run after catch. What does Tom throw really well? Short stuff. That's what he did.
Which I thought they would try to pick the Rams apart, turning him into Antonio Edelman the other night.
Right.
I thought he needed to be an Edelman, and they started the game with a couple of short completions.
Right.
I thought, okay,
right.
I like this. And then it degenerated quickly into bombs away.
Well, see, Skip, here's the thing. When they were not pressing because nobody was pressing, Tom's like, okay, I'm going here. You're not going to press him? And then all of a sudden, Williams started pressing. Ramsey started pressing. So now Tom has got to think about it. Is he going to be open? Because if he's off, Skip, he's going to be there. You know that.
Yep.
So that's what you got to do. You got to make Brady think. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, I made him think, D-line, get him. But for BA, I am surprised that BA is, not that he's been so, but I'm just saying, Skip, that we're hitting these in practice, or the guy was open. Ain't nobody ask you where the guy's open. No one asked you that. So now you're like, you mean this offense good? You saw what Jameis did in this offense last year, 5,000, 30-plus touchdowns. I don't know what's going on. And we hit it in practice.
Yep.
It's almost like, you know what they say, come game time, Skip. You know what they say in practice, we see guys that practice go across the middle, catch the ball.
Yep.
Come game time, are you trying to say Tom getting scared? Is he getting antsy, getting skittish in the pocket? Is that what you inferring? Implying? Excuse me.
And no surprise here. Tom Brady now has as many interceptions this year as he had all last year in New England.
Well, Skip, normally the first year, guys have very high interception total in his offense. Because, Skip, you can't help it, but if you push the ball down the field, Skip, you know what's going to happen eventually. And the amount of times that they want, and that's why, remember, Skip, when everybody was killing Godwin, killing Jameis about that, what did Godwin say? He was the only receiver.
He did.
Don't put all that on Jameis.
He did.
All that wasn't his fault. Think about it. Tom was throwing like maybe 2 shots a game, 3 shots a game, maybe, pushing the ball down the field. Jameis was throwing 6, 7.
Yep. So here's my final point about Tom Brady. To me, he is the most coachable, teachable superstar I've ever sort of closely observed. And because of that, he is non-threatening to the head coach. So I think Bruce Arians is feeling more and more emboldened, empowered, because Brady is not confrontational. His father taught him you do not challenge the head coach. You do not talk back to the head coach.
You can just pull him aside and say, B.A., come on, bro.
Okay, well, I don't know if he has that in him. I don't.
Well, no, with that kind of, he got it in him, Skip. With that kind of fire that he displays when he gets angry at someone for messing up, or he gets really excited when things are going well.
I don't know if he'll do it to the head coach.
No, but Skip, I'm not saying you ain't got to confront him. You can just like, B.A., you don't have to, I get.
Well, I would like to be a fly on the wall and hear that conversation.
I understand. I can play better.
Yep.
We can all do things better.
Yeah.
But, that's how, that's the way he probably would approach it. Now, me probably would be a whole different animal.
Well, you wouldn't have lasted nearly this long. You would have had you would have either gone to the media with your problems with him.
Well, Skip, I think the thing
fight fire with fire.
See, the reason why Tom was so easy to get along with Coach Belichick, because Coach Belichick got him young. So you get a guy young, Skip, you can groom him and say certain things, then it's okay. But Tom is in year 21.
Yep.
And Tom ain't up for this.
So now you're heaping even more pressure on Tom Brady. You're scathingly critical of him. And guess what? Sunday, you have to play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Good luck with that.
Well, you better get your defense right.
Yeah, it's not like you got the Jets Sunday and you can say, well, we'll get healthy Sunday, right?
You better talk to that defense. That's who need to get their act together. Brady, because Kansas City defense leaves a lot to be desired. Now, they don't pressure the quarterback, which could be a big, big problem for them. Remember, Derek Carr was clean on Sunday night.
No mercy. Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
The Lakers made several significant moves this offseason, trading for Dennis Schroeder from the Thunder and signing Wesley Matthews, Montrezl Harrell, and Marc Gasol. According to a Bleacher Report column, LeBron and the Lakers, quote, won free agency with these moves. So, Shannon, are you smiling yet? Did the Lakers clearly win free agency?
I believe they did, Skip. I believe they got better. They're better than the team that actually won the title. They addressed a lot of the issues that they have, which is scoring. Bringing in Dennis Schroeder, bringing in Montrez, because the biggest problem that they have, Skip, is how stagnant the offense became when LeBron left the court. Now that's not going to be an issue. I don't believe it will be an issue. Skip, there are going to be some nights that LeBron's not going to play. There are probably going to be some nights AD doesn't play, and they're still going to need to be able to score the ball because there are a lot of other teams that loaded up in the Western Conference. There are some teams that loaded up in the Eastern Conference, and you're not going to be in the bubble, so you're going to have to travel, Skip. So guys are going to miss, and there are going to be some back-to-backs. And so the likelihood of LeBron playing all these back-to-backs, not very good. The likelihood of AD playing all these back-to-backs, not very good. They got a big body and Marc Gasol that can bang with Yoke and can bang with Nurkic. That's what they needed. Sure, I would have loved to keep another big, but that wasn't in the cards. Dwight left to go to Philly, and they ended up having to trade JaVale to fit Gasol up under the cap. But I like the additions that they got, Skip. I believe they will be better. They will be better off the bench. Matthews, a 3-and-D guy that can shoot. And sure, I would have loved for the NBA season to be normal. You know what it is, Skip? The season ended and not, ended when it ended, and the guys get 4 months off. But that wasn't in the cards because if you keep getting, you get 4 months off, when do you ever get back to a regular season? When do you ever get back to these 82 games? It's going to be 72. But at least I think once they finish this season, if they don't have any interruptions, Skip, we can get back on a normal schedule because they're interfering with us going to get these 40,000 points. But we're going to get this title. I like it. You hate it because even though you thought, we're going to get a point guard, you didn't. And you still need one. So we addressed major needs and we got stronger.
By the way, there's stories out there, speculation that the Clippers are not done yet, and they might be going after Terry Rozier, who's suddenly available in Charlotte.
Go ahead.
We will talk about that in a few minutes.
Go
here
ahead.
on
I
the
hope
show.
you get him.
But that's a possibility. So don't sleep on what's not yet done for the Los Angeles Clippers. Okay. I keep hearing from you and many others this hype hooray about the Lakers ran off with free agency. And the billions of blind witnesses out there are eating this up, led by you, this whole notion that the Lakers got so much better.
They are better.
My problem is that all of you blind witnesses keep ignoring how much the Lakers lost. They lost more than they gained, so they did not get better. They actually got a little worse.
Did we lose anybody if you chose to let it go? If I let this bird go, did he escape or did I release him?
Did you want Rondo back? Yes, you did.
If we wanted him back, we'd have signed him, right?
I don't know.
We don't get it. If we don't want it, we could have with that. We'd have had to go over the cap. But when you want somebody, you go over the cap.
Okay, so I ask you right here, right now, is Dennis Schroeder better than Rajon Rondo? Is he? Right now, we're talking about playoff Rondo. The Rondo that we just watched become the third best Laker through the postseason run in the bubble. That Rondo. Is Schroeder better than that Rondo?
Schroeder's going to be better in the regular season and been playing the whole time and playing with LeBron. Come playoff time, he'll be as good, if not better, than Rondo.
So I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm looking at a Rondo who's now played 121 playoff games in his career.
Yes.
When playoffs come, he switches gears. He goes into a much higher gear, as we've seen again and again and again, because he has led the playoffs in assists 4 times in his career. Dennis Schroeder in the playoffs averages 4 assists a game. 4 times you led the whole playoffs in assists versus 4 assists. I think I'd side with Rondo on that. Schroeder's played in 46 playoff games, which is not all bad, but would you believe in the 7 games he played just recently against the Houston Rockets for the Oklahoma City Thunder, would you believe that Schroeder shot 29% from 3 in those 7 games? And Rondo, in your playoff run, all the way wall to wall, he shot 40% from 3, a guy that at times in his career I wasn't sure he could shoot at all.
Yes.
Okay, so he has developed, even perfected, a 3-point shot that is deadly when it matters most. So you just lost that. That's a huge piece to your puzzle, because you want to talk about a veteran stabilizing force that you can trust to settle down the offense and make plays for you in crucial moments and stretches of playoff games when LeBron needs to sit, or when LeBron just needs a break on the court where he can play off the ball a little bit.
Schroeder got it.
Does he really?
But see, what you failed to mention, you mentioned about, and I'm not taking anything away from Rondo, but you do realize that in Boston, Rondo had Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG. All 3 of these guys are first ballot Hall of Famers. He went to New Orleans. He had a first ballot Hall of Famer in AD. He comes to the Lakers last year. He got 2 more first ballot Hall of Famers, AD and LeBron James. So let's not pretend that Rondo was out there by himself wheeling and dealing. So let's put Schroeder with AD and LeBron, and we're going to see what he can do.
Schroeder is more of a solo act. He comes in and he wants to disrupt on defense, I give you that, and he wants to score the basketball. He wants to be this era's Vinny Microwave Johnson, coming off the bench for the Detroit Pistons and just lighting you up for stretches, right?
We might need that.
Okay, well, you might, but I don't think it's exactly what you're going to need when it's playoff time, because you're going to miss that force that is Rondo. He is a playoff force. And as much as I like Marc Gasol's, I respect and appreciate his experience. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He's played in so many big playoff battles, many against my Spurs, but he's an aging post presence who's become pretty much, I'm not going to say a liability on offense. He's just non-existent on offense. He gives you next to nothing.
Watch it.
And is he athletic on defense? No. Does he get to the right place at the right time? Yes,
Exactly.
he does.
That's what LeBron likes.
Okay.
But hold on, Skip. You make it seem like JaVale barely played in the finals.
Okay. Dwight played a lot in the finals.
Yes.
So you lost both Dwight and JaVale. Much more athletic firepower than
Rim
Gasol is
protectors,
going to
yes,
give you.
absolutely.
And Dwight alone, I've told you again and again, when I'm rooting against your Lakers, the 2 players who always scared me the most, Rondo and Dwight, because they play with such gray area edge. They give your team that dog. So they got that dog.
So let me get this right. I'm going to make sure people at home hear me. When you play the Lakers, the people that scared Skip Bayless the most was Rajon Rondo and Dwight Howard. Not AD and LeBron, Rondo and Dwight Howard.
Yep.
Wow.
Because they will do things that LeBron and AD are not capable of doing.
Skip.
Physicality, edge.
Skip, do you realize what LeBron is? He's 6'9", 260. And you say Rondo is more physical than him. Stop it.
Hey, Dwight was just pushing people around through the whole playoff
He did
run.
an unbelievable job on Jokic. Skip, I will concede that. We really needed him to bother Jokic, and he did an unbelievable job. But he was non-existent against Houston. He didn't play a whole lot and get in game 6.
They're small ball. You didn't need him against
That's
Houston.
my point. We could go.
Okay, well, you're not going to need Gasol if you play that kind of an offense.
They got Jokic. And Portland still have Nurkic. So you're still going to need a big body. He's a big body.
He's not as good as the combination of JaVale and especially Dwight.
Don't you worry.
You know it and I know it. I can see in your eyes over there, you got fear in your eyes.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Who got a combination as good as what we got in AD and Bron?
Okay, I give you that, but that was always there.
Trez?
Did it get better? Thank you for bringing up Trez. The Clippers just rejected him. He's a Clippers cast off. The Clippers decided he's more trouble than he is worth. He has a huge personality that can be divisive and difficult in the locker room.
No, he just want everybody to practice hard and play hard.
Okay.
That's what he want. You don't come in here, hey, what you did over there Ain't won us no games over here.
Okay.
So you think you gonna come in and load management and take our practice? You talk about we need to get better. We need to play. How we gonna play if we can't practice together? How we gonna get better if we can't play together? Trey's like, And I keep hearing rumblings that Lou Will might be on the outside.
That is correct.
But I love how you say the Clippers rejected Trez, but we let Dwight go. We traded JaVale. We let Rondo go. We traded Danny Green. Oh, they left you. They left you. Did we not reject them?
Okay, that's fine. But the Clippers definitely cast off Montrezl Harrell. You got their cast off. And he's bringing to you an even bigger ego that became a problem for the Clippers because he just won Sixth Man of the Year.
That's right.
And he's going to say, I ain't afraid of no LeBron.
No, that ain't what he and Brian boys. We clutch. We clutch when we clutch.
We'll see how long that lasts.
You know what? That's okay. Now watch.
I'm the Sixth Man of the Year.
Watch how this relationship works.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
We'll see.
You know what we do? This is what we do. I live in an apartment, and you didn't want her. Now I got her. And guess what? I'm going to walk by on arm in arm with her every day in your face. She going to be looking good.
Yep.
Wave at him, baby.
Yeah. She'll look good until you get her back home, and all of a sudden she starts to nag on you. She starts to irritate.
No, she going to be on her best behavior.
Yeah.
You know why? Because she's like, she got something to prove. He didn't think I was this good. He didn't think I could be a compliment to him. So let me show you. Y'all didn't think Trez could be a compliment to a championship winning team, and you let him go. But he about to show you.
As the oldest cliche goes, leopards don't change their spots.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. There have been a lot of leopards that change their spot when they go to New England because it's about winning. You set that aside.
This
Trez
is
wouldn't get that
basketball,
chip.
big egos. This is NBA, not NFL.
How bad does Trez want to get a chip? Ooh, right there. Skip, I kept telling you. Man, that man got tired of being in the basement. You know, you see horror stories, they stick your head down there, yell down there, hey, help, let me out. Now he upstairs with the big boys to party there.
And all of a sudden you're going to get to the playoffs and you're going to say, wait a second, he's a defensive liability? How can we play him 30 minutes a game like he wants to play when he can't guard anybody in the post because he's about 6'6"?
When he giving us 19 and 10 off the bench. That's how you play it.
Yeah.
Look
and
at
he's
Trez.
giving somebody else 25 and 12.
Trez, punish him on the offensive glass. Punish him, beat him to the point. And that's what Trez going, ooh, I love it.
The Clippers just upgraded. That they went to Serge Ibaka, who is 7 feet tall and shot 39% last year from three. Whew.
Watch Trez put it on him.
Yep.
I already talked to
can't wait
I already talked to the G.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we about to get this chip.
Is that right?
I already talked to the G.
And by the way, speaking of my man, Danny Green, he's bounced around a little bit, but every time he bounces somewhere, they seem to win a chip. I don't know what happens.
Oh, so you saying Philly gonna win the chip?
I think he will upgrade them. And the point is, you're going to miss his presence because I know he could be the all-time streak shooter, but when he's hot, he's hot. Danny Green makes big playoff threes. I realize he missed the Mamba jersey three. He missed it.
That's okay.
But he made a whole bunch of them for the Spurs and a bunch of them for Toronto, and he made a bunch of them for you guys this year. He can really shoot it, and you're going to miss his high basketball IQ on the defensive end because Wes Matthews is more of a physical defender who plays with his physicality more than his IQ.
And can hit them threes. And Skip, you look at it, and also you have to look at, okay, if you say the Lakers won, what happened with the Nuggets? The Nuggets lost. I believe the Nuggets lost. Now, if Michael Porter Jr. steps up, he can soften the Jeremy Grant leaving. He can soften Mason Plumlee leaving. But when you look at, and then you guys lost JaMychal Green, you basically swapped Ibaka for Harrell, and you swapped Landry Shamet for Kennard.
Kennard's better.
Oh, really?
Better. He's more consistent shooter.
Really?
40% career three-point shooter.
So people let 40% three-point shooters go now. And everybody playing. Now, you just saw what Bogdan got. You just saw what the three-point shooters are getting. Bertans in Washington. So people are just letting those three-point shooters go for no reason.
Upgrades.
Yeah, okay.
Upgrades.
Yeah, we got it.
Clippers ain't finished.
Look at them. Skip, I want you to get Rose. I hope you get him. Because what you needed was a true point guard. What you needed a guy that was unconcerned about scoring. Rozier want to score buckets.
You know what? Gasol looks lost in that picture. That's what I said. He's going to look that way when the playoffs come around. Like, what am I doing out here?
Pick and pop.
I'm retired, aren't I?
Pick and pop.
I'm semi-retired.
He about to tie his brother this year.
What am I doing?
Two brothers. 2 rings.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All
Good
right.
luck.
Well, this has been fun, and I know this conversation will continue. But guys, tomorrow is actually Turkey Day. I can't believe it. On Fox, the Cowboys find themselves as 3-point home favorites, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Dallas plays host to divisional rival Washington as they seek revenge for their 25-3 loss earlier this season. And yes, I know that one hurt for you, Skip. But Shannon, is the 3-point spread in favor of the Cowboys too high, too low, or just right?
Seems too low. I mean, it seems very low to me. The Cowboys should be favored by more.
Seriously?
Consider, I thought they were playing better. Skip Bayless told me they're playing better. They got Andy Dalton at quarterback. Andy Dalton went to 3 or 4 Pro Bowls. He won his first 10 years, 4 or 5 years. He won at least 10 games. You got Zeke Elliott coming off a 100-yard game. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's the best rookie receiver in the draft.
No doubt.
You got Amari Cooper. You got Michael Gallup. You just kicked out Zach Martin to the right tackle. And all your favored by 3 at home on Thanksgiving? Come on. They should be in favor by at least a touchdown.
What happened the last time these teams played?
No, I'm talking about they weren't playing. I thought they were playing so well. Are they playing well with this talent?
Well, they just won 1 game for the first time in like 6 months.
And you came out here riding the parade like you'd won the Super Bowl.
I was just happy. It's been a long time.
I love Washington's defense. They invested a lot of money on that defensive line.
Thank you.
The number 2 pick, Chase Young. They got Payne and Allen was in the teens. Kerrigan was in the teens. Sweat was high 20s. So they invested a lot of money. But here's the thing. If the Cowboys, if you can't block that front, and they couldn't last time they played, I believe you will see a heavy dose of Zeke. I believe you will run the football. They're going to run the football. Skip, they can't get into a passing situation because those guys will come hunt, and Andy Dalton is not mobile. So, yeah, he can make a sidestep here or there, but they'll chase him down. They have a very good defensive line. I'm looking at the injury report. McLaren, Gibson, both dealing with ankle injuries. So I thought the Cowboys were going to be favored by, I would probably say it's somewhere between 6, a touchdown. Let's just go with a touchdown. I thought that. But 3 points, it seems low to me, considering. Skip, maybe I'm just the only one, but every time Alex Smith dropped back to pass, I find myself doing something because I'm just afraid he's going to get hit. It's just hard for me to watch.
Okay. I'm shocked that you're shocked by this point spread because I thought it was going to be the other way. I always tell you I try to pick it, or I do pick it before I look at the spread. I thought it would be pick 'em. I thought they would just say even Steven with no home field 3-point advantage.
No.
I'll tell you why. Because Washington kicked this team's tail not that long ago. It was October 25th, and it was a wipeout. It was 26-3, and Washington ran for 208 yards. It was by far, to me, the worst game Dallas has played all year. It was
Worse than Arizona?
It was a mutiny game. Yeah,
okay.
Because Arizona's way better than Washington is to me.
Okay.
Way more explosive on offense. But the point is, Washington, to me, across the board on paper, is more talented than Dallas is. All told, looking at all 22.
No.
More talented. Well, you just listed the whole defensive front. My God.
Yeah, but look at the offensive front.
Okay. Well, look at, I looked at Pro Football Focus. They ranked Washington's offensive line #1 last week. They said they were by far the best offensive line.
What did I keep telling you about that? I'd have been valedictorian if I'd had anybody from Pro Football Focus grading my papers in high school.
So
I'd have went to Vanderbilt.
Now you're ripping Pro Football Focus.
I'd have went to Vanderbilt. I should have went to Vanderbilt anyway. But they weren't deserving of my talent.
Oh, yeah. Well, we could have gotten, we had this little school across the street called Peabody, and you could have gone to Peabody and played football at Vanderbilt. We would have been happy. We needed you.
I know.
Okay. Here's the point. Back to Pro Football Focus. Let's just look at what just happened. The Minnesota Vikings defense is ranked 21st overall by Pro Football Focus. And that's about where they are.
Yes.
Okay? My team just scored 31 points. I'm I'm still giddy. I'm on a high.
Right.
Andy Dalton and company scored 31. You want to talk about a sight for sore eyes?
Right.
But it was the Vikings, and he had time.
Right.
They did not put much of any heat on him. Okay, 21st overall defense. They ranked the Redskins. I grew up calling them Redskins. The football team, 7th best overall on defense. 7th best. And you know what? I will buy into that. Okay. I think they're that good because I look at the front. Ryan Kerrigan he doesn't even get in the rotation much anymore, and he was the 16th overall pick in the draft.
2011.
And then here we go down the line. Jonathan Allen was 17th overall. Deron Payne, both from Bama, 3rd overall.
13th.
I think he's
13th.
13th overall. Montez Sweat, 26th overall. Obviously, Chase Young was 2nd overall and had his best game, albeit against the Bengals last week. And then Bostic, who blew up my quarterback, cheap shot at him, knocked him out of the game, was a 2nd-round pick. Ronald Darby was a 2nd-round pick at corner. And
Landon Collins.
yeah, and guess who? A guy named Tim Settle made Pro Football Focus first team all week. You know, each week they do a first team. He was all weekly first team, and he's listed as a backup defensive tackle, and he came in and wreaked havoc on the Bungles, if you want to call them the Bungles, but he's in the rotation. Well, that's a hellacious front with so many high picks, and their offensive line has a bunch of high picks, and Terry McLaurin, I know he's listed with an ankle, but he played really well against Cincinnati.
He's played well this year.
He's a 4.3 40, and he's their whole attack. They go to Terry McLaurin, and nobody seems to be able to stop him. And Antonio Gibson is a rookie 3rd-round pick out of Memphis, and he ran for 128 yards, by far his best all year against Dallas.
Yeah, McLaurin from Ohio State. Have you ever seen anybody from Ohio State that couldn't run?
Nope, I agree. Okay, so Alex Smith and Andy Dalton at this stage in age, are they pretty much
I would lean a little bit toward. If Alex Smith hadn't had that injury, I would say Alex Smith was a little better because he was a little bit more mobile. Skip, you remember Alex Smith used to move. He was really, really mobile.
Yeah. Well, he ran and he was a running quarterback at Utah for Urban Meyer.
And remember, he had the game-winning touchdown in the playoff game against the Saints.
So he's played in 4 games, and his QBR average for is 46. So it's below. It's scale 0 to 100.
So that ain't good, is it?
It's just below average. So that's about how he has played. And yet, when Joe Burrow got knocked out of the game against Cincinnati, Cincinnati was actually leading in the 3rd quarter 9-7.
Yes.
And they lost 20-9.
Right.
Okay. So to me, Washington has underachieved all year because they've won 3 games. They beat Philly in the opener.
Right.
They beat
coming from 17 down, though.
Yeah,
They were down 17
Okay. And they beat Dallas.
Here's the thing, though. I think if they had gotten better quarterback play, they might have had a better record than what they have. I think their defense has played well enough for them to be better. They have some. They're not loaded with offensive skill players, but I think the quarterback, Haskins and the kid that he brought from Carolina, I think Allen and
Kyle Allen,
and now Smith. Skip, if they can get consistent quarterback play, they can make a run at this thing. But like I said, this division is so tacky, so bad. I mean, somebody's going to win this division with 6 games. Okay. And they're going to lose the first round because they're going to end up seeing Seattle, Arizona, Tampa Bay. They're going to end up seeing someone like that because they're going to have a home game, and one of these teams is going to be a wild card, and they're going to come to your building and beat the brakes off you.
All right, so what do we see Sunday at Minnesota? My team came out for the first time all year. In fact, for the first time maybe in 2 years, and played their tails off.
They did.
Like they were committed to playing harder than the Vikings were at home. And the Vikings had just won 3 straight games. Well, again, Mike McCarthy is taking credit for it with what you so appropriately dismissed yesterday. It was the watermelon incident, as we're going to call it. But again, he's taking credit for motivating them with some corny, goofy, stupid, out of bounds, watermelon bursting that they did.
Skip, but if you look at Minnesota, what could Minnesota was always been known for? Getting after the quarterback. You go back to the Purple People Eaters and come back to Johnny Randall and Henry Thomas and Chris Dolman, Keith Millard, Noga. They've always been able to get after the quarterback. Remember, they had Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, Danielle Hunter. They could always get after the quarterback.
They're all gone.
Danielle Hunter's on IR. Yep. Let Linval Joseph and Griffin go in free agency. So now they can't generate that same type of pressure.
I agree.
Well, if you can't generate pressure on a quarterback, I don't care who the quarterback is. They'll pick you apart.
Okay.
And now you let them run the football like they ran it?
I assume Washington will generate lots of pressure.
Oh, yeah, Jack gonna come.
Okay.
Man, look, you and I both know I played against Jack. I was in Baltimore
Jack
when
Del
he was
Rio.
there. Jack Del Rio, yeah. He was the D coordinator. I know Jack. Jack gonna come get you.
Okay, so now it's about motivation. surely my team doesn't need some stupid little shtick that the head coach does to get ready for this game, because this is your arch rival who just beat the snot out of you at Washington, humiliated you, embarrassed you just a month ago at Washington.
Yes.
So on a short week, you had an incident yesterday where your strength and conditioning coach, Marcus Paul, God bless him, I'm knocking on wood for him, needed to be rushed to the hospital, so they had to cancel practice.
Right.
Do I think that's it's a terrible thing for Marcus Paul's family, but is it a bad thing for the football team or the Dallas team? Probably not. It's a short week.
Right.
I'm sure they can regroup and maybe...
The only motivation you need, I don't know if they're going to probably have walkthroughs today.
Yeah.
When they go to the blackboard, he needs to put first place division and walk out of the room. That's all. That's it on the line, Skip. As bad as we play, we win this game, we in first.
You got to feel pretty good about yourselves coming off that game in Minnesota.
Well, Skip, all you had to do was feel good about yourself being in this division. Nobody was running. If somebody was 7-0, or they played 10 games. Somebody was 8-1, 8-2, something like that. Skip, you're like, man, we really got our work cut out for us.
Here's what I'm clinging to: of all the NFC least teams, what is the most impressive win all year by any of the least teams? All four. What's the most impressive win? It's got to be Dallas at Minnesota. Got to be.
Well, considering that Minnesota lost to Atlanta, I don't know if I'm really ready to go there.
They had just blown Green Bay off its field.
But come on, Skip. Green Bay defense leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Your day coming.
The Eagles won at San Francisco, but they were already starting to be decimated.
Your day coming. Okay. I just want you to know.
Your day is coming Friday. Can't wait for Friday on the show.
I bet that turkey don't taste the same when you watch them put foots in you. It ain't gonna taste the same. You like Ernestine, I don't want no more. I'm full.
I will have already eaten it. Now, whether it stays down or not, that's a whole other issue. Yep.
It's so interesting, Skip, that your Thanksgivings can be great or really, really bad at times with the Cowboys.
What you mean Thanksgiving? That's every day.
It so much relies on the Cowboys.
No, it does.
Cowboys,
Stressful.
No mercy.
Well, how about this, guys? Start your Thanksgiving with Undisputed. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow morning to preview the Cowboys' potential first-place showdown against Washington later that day on Fox at 4 p.m. Eastern. Plus, a look at the two other Turkey Day matchups and all the latest on a wild time in NBA free agency. That'll be at our regular time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, on Thanksgiving morning, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. I'm thankful for this show, and I'm thankful we can celebrate and, talk some sports and lots of Cowboys tomorrow morning. Join us. Well, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook, the Buccaneers found themselves as 5.5-point favorites against the Rams this past Monday night, but lost the game outright. Now Tom Brady and Tampa play host to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs as 4-point underdogs. So, Shannon, how do you explain this?
Skip, I think this was an overreaction. I think when you look at it, 5.5-point favorite, they lose the game outright, as Jenny mentioned, and then you come in as 4-point underdogs. I think this is only because of Patrick Mahomes and the offense. Because if you look at the Chiefs defense, Skip, they've given up 31 points in back-to-back games against Carolina and the Raiders. And they've gotten 7 sacks in the last 6 games. You remember what Tom Brady did to Carolina when they couldn't put pressure on him? He carved him up. And that's what happens. Kansas City defense doesn't generate pressure. They have one guy that can consistently generate pressure, and that's Jones. But they double him, and nobody else can consistently beat one-on-one. And their secondary isn't very good. You see that Derek Carr.
Except for Honey Badger.
And Teddy Bridgewater carved him up. This is all about Mahomes and the offense. And people are looking like, hold on. I believe this is going to be a shootout. I am surprised. And I was trying to go back, Skip. I can't remember a time when Tom Brady was at New England and he was an underdog, especially by 4 points. At 4 points at home. And he's not been Tom Brady probably haven't been an underdog in the last decade more than maybe 4 or 5 times, Skip. And that's pushing it. And so I am surprised that they're 4-point underdogs, but I believe this is an overreaction to how they looked on Monday night. So I believe it should be more of a pick-em ball game, Skip, because as Mahomes can have his way with the defense, they've shown that. Tom Brady can have his way with their defense, with Kansas City's defense. So this game is going to be closer than 4 points. This game is going to be decided by a late field goal.
On this one, I do concur. I was shocked by this point spread because you're trying to tell me that the Kansas City Chiefs are 9.5 points better than the Los Angeles Rams? I think not.
No.
Okay, now I'm going to go back to your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, just to rub this in on you. So as of today, in overall team rankings, the Rams are ranked #1 by Pro Football Focus. And I don't have any issue with that.
Okay.
Offense, defense,
I can live special teams. I can live with that.
Okay. The Bucs on body of work the whole year at 7-4 are ranked 5th. The Chiefs on body of work the whole year are ranked 8th. So Rams 1st, Bucs 5th, Chiefs 8th, says Pro Football Focus. Highly respected website except from across the table.
Right.
Okay. So think about that. Yet the Rams were up to 5.5-point dogs at Tampa.
Right.
On Monday night. And all of a sudden, 6 days later, you're saying Patrick Mahomes and company are going to be a 4-point favorite. It does not add up.
No.
2 + 2 = 7.
Especially if
right?
one team is ranked lower than the team that they're favored over.
Okay. So the Rams defense is legitimately real. It's great.
They top 1 or 2.
Yeah, because they have arguably now emerging the 2 best corners in football, especially the 1 best corner in football, right?
Yep.
In Jalen Ramsey. Okay, so with that front 7 that they have, they can really get after the quarterback. So they have emerged, if I just do the pure numbers, in yards allowed, nobody has allowed fewer yards than the Rams, okay? So you got that working for you. Their offense ranks 9th in the league. So it's a top 10 offense. And if you don't touch Jared Goff, if you leave him clean all night, he's got weapons everywhere. And, hey, those receivers can flat out fly and get open.
After the catch.
Yeah, they are tremendous after the catch. So now let's go back and look at what just happened to Patrick Mahomes. So he just played on Sunday night at Las Vegas. And, again, it's more of an arch rivalry within the AFC West. I will give you that.
Yes.
But it comes down to the last throw, and he made it to a wide-open Travis Kelce. And they pulled it out 35-31. Well, not too many weeks back, Tom Brady had to play at Las Vegas, and they won 45-20, and Brady was really good that day.
Yeah.
So he was 33 of 45 for 369, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So the other night, Patrick Mahomes was 34 of 45, so he had 1 more completion, same attempts. But for 348 versus 369 Brady, 2 touchdowns Mahomes had, and 1, as we went back and forth about, 1 weird interception where he wanted
Robinson to come straight back to him. Right.
Okay, so 2 touchdowns to 1 interception versus 4 touchdowns and none.
Right.
So I would say Tom Brady had a slightly better game at Las Vegas than Patrick Mahomes did.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now it's ironic. And by the way, Brady's best throw of the year was to little Scotty Miller in that game.
Yeah.
And that was when they were at their apex of hitting what are called big-time throws. I think we have that play. Don't we have the Scotty Miller? I just want to refresh everybody's memory. This is what Brady used to do for Tampa Bay, right? This is right at the end of the half.
Yeah.
That's a dime.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think he enjoys throwing deep to Scotty Miller more than any of those other receivers.
Yeah.
And Scotty Miller is now the odd man out of the rotation because of Antonio Brown, right?
And even give the other receiver that caught a pass against Chicago is out of the rotation. Yeah. Everybody's out of the rotation since
Tyler Johnson. He's caught some touchdown passes, rookie from Minnesota.
But everybody's out of the rotation now.
Okay, and yet maybe Brady's best throw the other night was that rocket shot that he fired over the middle to Scotty Miller, where Fuller, the safety who picked him off twice, got there just a split second early, and it was obvious pass interference, but it was a really good throw. So my point is, that was Brady at his best at Las Vegas, and he is always at his best after a loss. So I am with you. I would think he should do some damage to the Kansas City defense because Derek Carr's done a lot of damage to it. Okay?
Teddy Bridgewater did damage to it.
But my biggest fear is in back-to-back home night games, Todd Bowles' defense was atrocious. It was a liability. It was impossible against two really good defenses, New Orleans and Rams, for Brady to overcome his side of the ball against high-quality defenses to match up with how many points his defense was giving up.
You're right, Skip. And the thing is, Jamel Dean left the ball game.
He did.
Looked like he had a concussion or something, so he's probably going to be in concussion protocol. The thing is, you can't. If you play Kansas City, Skip, you can't get lazy, because this kid will be looking over here and he'll throw the ball over there. And if you get lazy, all their receivers can flat out fly. You miss, Tyreek is gone. Mecole Hardman is gone. Robinson is gone.
Sammy Watkins, if he's back.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins might be back. Skip, all of their receivers can run, and then you got to deal with that animal.
Okay.
87.
So, combined, Drew Brees and Jared Goff completed almost 80% of their passes in these last two games against Todd Bowles' defense. The Saints had 420 total yards at Tampa. The Rams had 413 yards at Tampa. Combined, those two offenses were 17 of 29 on third down. That gets you beat?
Yeah, you're going to lose. And Skip, the whole thing is, if you do not pressure Mahomes, he's going to hurt you.
Well,
you got to get him, Skip, you got to get him down, because they didn't really do anything to Jared Goff. So Jared Goff, it was just a matter of, okay, don't throw it to the other guy. But when they didn't pressure him and he threw it to his guys, it was first down.
Maybe the biggest reason I like the Bucs heading into the season was it's the pass rush.
Right.
Because Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks last year, and he's way off that pace now.
Right.
He was non-existent the other night. And there's Sue and there's JPP. JPP was pretty lively.
JPP is playing unbelievable, Skip.
Okay. But usually either David or Devin White they blitz like banshees.
Yes.
They come from everywhere, and they could not touch Jared Goff the other night.
They did a great job of locking it up. They were on. I think the thing is, Skip, is that you look at Jared Goff. They got some delay of the games, but they wanted Todd Bowles to reveal. Todd Bowles like to wait till the very last minute before he shows you what you're going to do. They said you're going to have to show it sooner or later, because we're going to take the clock. Because there are a lot of times they were snapping the ball, Skip. It was 0.
Yep.
So you got to declare, and that's what. And once you declare, Sean McVay says, hey, let's just get into our playmaker's hand and let them run with it at the catch. Now,
all hot, all quick, all little wide receiver screens.
You let Tyreek or those receivers catch that ball like that, and it's over. You're not catching them.
Well, my gut is that Brady, if he's going to win this game, is going to have to win it 50 to 40.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be like that Monday night between the Rams and Kansas City a couple of years ago, Skip.
I got
55-45, something like that.
No mercy.
Well, the Clippers aren't done making moves this offseason, according to many reports. Mark Stein said that after adding Serge Ibaka and Luke Kennard, many teams around the league expect the Clippers to trade away Lou Williams in order to create a, quote, fresh start environment. Meanwhile, Hornets point guard Terry Rozier liked a tweet saying that he would be a good fit with the Clippers after there were reports of trade talk. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, personally, I can't keep track of all this. What are you hearing?
Well, Mark Stein's right on the money, and people around the league think that the Clippers are looking to move Lou Williams. Remember, we talked yesterday about Montrezl Harrell and the issues he created in that locker room. But it wasn't just Montrezl. It was a trio. Montrezl, Lou, and Patrick Beverley. And I'm not saying it was a civil war, but it was just some tension there. And we all know that. And so, yeah, they wouldn't mind getting rid of Lou and Patrick Beverley. I think you can even say they're shopping them, not desperately shopping them, like we got to get them out of here, but they would like that type of fresh start. Lou also brings problems on the court. As great as he is offensively, he doesn't play good defense. We all know that. He's a liability there. And so they are looking to move on. The problem is Lou only makes $8 million a year. So it's going to be tough to get a player back who can give you his production for that type of money. With Patrick Beverley, he's got 2 years, about $27 million left on his deal. And teams feel like, and it's true, he's always injured. If you look at his history, he is always banged up. Maybe it's how tough he plays, how hard-nosed he is, but that is scaring teams off. So there's not a ton of, much of a market out there for Patrick Beverley or really either of these guys. Now, the Clippers would love to get their hands on Terry Rozier. I would love them to get Terry Rozier. I'm sure Skip would love them to get Terry Rozier. It's the type of move that's needed to help them keep pace with the Lakers, but nothing's impossible. But Michael Jordan loves Terry Rozier. He wishes he had a team full of Terry Roziers. A lot of people think Rozier's on the market because they drafted LaMelo Ball, who's a point guard, but that's not necessarily the case. Jordan thinks they can play together. Rozier can play some too. If he's going to trade him, it's going to take a lot more than what the Clippers can offer. And so while I'd like to see them get Rozier, I do not see that happening.
Can somebody ask me this, Skip? Chris, you and Skip, maybe you can help me. What is the Clippers culture? What is it?
What do you think it is?
Not losing.
Well, you know what, though, recently, we do have to be honest. I mean, under Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they were pretty good. You know, not a championship team, but they were legit contenders. Then when Chris left, they became this hard-nosed,
There you go.
Team.
Thank you. Paul.
And then, okay.
Craze, Lou Will.
Kawhi and Paul George, that changed.
So in other words, if you're going to make a fresh start, you got to get everybody that was there part of the old culture. Remember, Skip, Pat Bev bounced around. Trez bounced around. Lou Will was a second-round draft pick. They fought, scratch, claw, practiced every single day, played every single night. And now you get two guys coming here and they take it off. They not practicing. They play when they want to. And that rubbed them the wrong way. And so in order for you to get a fresh start, because clearly, and rightfully so, Paul George and Kawhi, those are your centerpieces. You got to keep those happy, those guys happy, because both of those guys have player options next year. The one thing you cannot have happen is one or both of these guys walking out the door and you're about to go get $1 billion, $1.5 billion playpen down in Inglewood. You can't have that, Skip. Now, I would love for you to get Terry Rozier, because what you really need was a Rajon Rondo, a guy that's unconcerned about scoring, that only cares about getting you involved in your offense.
I agree with that.
Terry Rozier has success in the playoffs, Skip, scoring the basket. He wants to be really a two masquerading as a point. So he going to want to get his bucket. And you know, Kawhi, when he told him, I think he passed the ball to Reggie Jackson, somebody, he said, I ain't get a ball up for that, please. So I can just imagine Kawhi and Terry Rozier. But you go ahead and get it. Do what y'all need to do. But we upstairs polishing up our trophy.
Yep, you lucked into it. I give you that.
Ain't no luck.
So, to me, the Clippers culture is whatever Kawhi wants it to be right now.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
And he wanted Serge Ibaka to be part of that culture because he loves Serge, and Serge loves Kawhi. And it's going to be very different. But they kept their one enforcer. Marcus Morris is still right in the middle of this, and he is a very valuable piece, and he got his money to stay. So I love that. And to Chris's point, it was a clash of old guard versus new guard. But new guard is way more talented than old guard.
Absolutely.
So Lou Williams has seen his best days in this league, and I love him. And I used to really love him, but he has become, in their eyes, expendable because he didn't want to be in the bubble, and he played like it last year because in the playoff run, he shot 24% from three, and he was driving me out of my mind because he looked lifeless. He looked like he was not buying into whatever the new Clippers were selling.
He had a lemon pepper sauce.
He had lemon pepper sauce, and we know about the Magic City incident, and I think that was the beginning of the end of Lou as a Clipper.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay, so no Trez, again, rejected to the Lakers.
Oh, there you go.
He was a reject. He's a cast-off.
Skip, just say that Trez is no longer there.
He is no longer there because they didn't want him there. Yeah, and so here we go. Lou Williams is on the market. I don't know what they can do. I don't know what you can get. As Chris said, these are all very difficult moves. But
what about Pat Bev? Pat Bev was the third best guy on the team. And why are you trying to get rid of the third best guy and a point guard? You got a point guard. Don't Pat Bev play point guard?
Yeah, he's a defensive point guard. He's not an offensive point guard.
Well, if he stopped training in Tim's on the beach, he wouldn't be in danger so much.
And also to Chris's point, I love Terry Rozier. He's got that dog in him, but you're right, Shannon. He is more two than one. Now, when Kyrie was out and they went on their run 2 years ago in the playoffs, or is it now it's almost 3 years ago, Terry Rozier was pretty good as a point guard. He averaged 6 assists through those games, and they got, obviously, all the way to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron and company, and that was the end of that deal. Well, but they got to 7, because it was pretty impressive, and he was the driving force and the heartbeat of that team.
And what did he do? He parlayed that into a payday.
He did. He got a big payday, and he was pretty good last year, but so was Devontae Graham.
Yeah.
He emerged, and he can play the point, and I hate to tell him this, but LaMelo, on usage rate, he might lead the league in usage rate next year as a rookie. Yep, he just might. So somebody is odd man out, expendable, and I will not be shocked if the Clippers figure a way to pry Terry Rozier loose. I know, of course, saying it's not happening. I just think that's their target, and when Steve Ballmer wants something, he usually pulls it off.
Well, you got to match up the salaries. Because Terry Rozier makes about $19 million a year.
Well, you're going to have to do some wheeling and dealing with other players and maybe another team.
Yeah.
Give us Zubac. Okay, we'll take Zubac.
There are trades that would work.
Yep.
There are trades that would work financially. You know, you could send Beverly
take Paul George
to Charlotte for Rozier and Malik Monk or something like that. Like, that would work financially.
We'll trade you Rozier for Paul George.
Who's we?
Huh?
Who's your we now?
Charlotte.
You're now Charlotte?
Hey, Chris, might need to do something.
Charlotte would do that.
You got to do something to make up for this Gordon Hayward deal. You got to fleece somebody like Gordon Hayward just fleeced you. So you got to get somebody. You got to get back, Chris.
I think for the Clippers to get Rozier, it's going to have to be a 3-team deal, 3 or 4-team deal. And that's going to be tough to pull off. Look, they're going to keep trying. And, you know, there's been mention of Derrick Rose. I don't know, you know, Rose obviously is seen his better days, but they're going to keep trying to get a point guard. But even they realize this could be the roster they start the season with.
Yep. So, for once, starting next year, the Clippers are going to be way under the radar. The odds makers will not love them because they're going to be starting fresh.
Hold on.
New coach, new culture.
How do you get under the radar with 2 top 10 players when just last year you had the best player? You said the best player in the NBA, that KD was injured and he was just coming off the championship, was Kawhi Leonard. How can you ever, when has LeBron James ever flown under the radar? Chris, can you tell me that? Not Kawhi under the radar? What is he? A B-52? He an AWACS?
He's the silent assassin.
Yeah, he was real solid in Game 7. He was real solid in Game 6 and 5 in the fourth quarter.
Go ahead, you can gloat now. Yeah.
They still start as the second best team in the West. I don't think they're that far under the radar. Like, the Lakers are ahead of everybody, but I think they're viewed as the second best team, even over Denver.
Hold up. Who goes to the limit talking about, man, if I can just get the silver? If I can just get the bronze medal. No.
I hear you. I'm just saying they're not under the radar. That's where they
exactly.
Are. Second best.
You were supposed to get the silver in the bubble.
No, we didn't.
Yep.
We won gold.
Yep.
We won gold.
Yeah, because you got every break.
What break, Skip? It was the same bubble.
Miami lost its leading playoff scorer and its heart and soul player in Game 1.
We're not talking
and
about...
you're taking credit for that?
First of all, hold on. We wanted to play you guys. What were you guys doing?
No, we wanted to play you guys.
No, you didn't. I couldn't tell. You didn't even want to play the Nuggets.
Both Shannon and Chris are wearing their Lakers purple this morning. You know, you guys playing the part right now.
No mercy.
Jerry Jones still hasn't given Dak Prescott a long-term deal, and it could be because of Carson Wentz. Some are speculating that the Eagles did more harm than good when signing Wentz to a 4-year, $129 million extension last summer. Wentz leads the league in picks this season with 14, and his Eagles are just 3-6-1. But moving on from Wentz would cost the Eagles nearly $80 million this season, and it would cost them just under $25 million to cut the quarterback next season. So, Shannon, how much should Wentz's struggles impact Jerry's thinking on Dak?
It shouldn't impact it at all, Skip. First of all, Jerry can't do a long-term deal with Dak until after the season because Dak signed that franchise tag tender, Skip. There is no negotiating during this period. So once the season's over, they can start in the free agent, see when the opens up, they can get a contract. Skip, when has Jerry Jones ever done anything because someone else did it? Skip, remember, he's the only one that doesn't revenue share. He does his own thing. When everybody else was doing coke, where did Jerry go, Skip? He went with Pepsi. When everybody did Ticketmaster, he started his own ticket broker. Jerry gave Tyron Smith a 10-year deal when you could barely get a 5-year deal with an offensive lineman. So he gave Zeke $16 million when everybody said the running back position is dead. Jerry said, I don't care what y'all say, I do me. So Jerry, Skip, you know Jerry better than anybody. Mm-hmm. Jerry does things his way. And just when you say Jerry shouldn't do it, or Jerry ain't gonna do that, Jerry gonna do just the opposite of what you think he's gonna do. But you don't run your team based on how someone else runs their team. You do you. And Dak has shown how valuable he is, not only on the field, but off it also. Now, considering how they've looked thus far, Skip, I believe had Dak been healthy, they would not be 3-7. But they are. So I don't think Jerry's going to let Carson Wentz situation, because that situation is totally different. Jerry understands. He saw what it was like when he didn't have a number one receiver. He saw what it was like when he didn't have Tyron Smith and he didn't have Zeke Elliott. He saw what it's like. That's what Carson Wentz going through. Now, I'm not excusing Wentz for his play because he's made some horrible throws and some horrible decisions. But Jerry Jones has been around the game and understands the game well enough. Know that you need a supporting cast. And so I don't think the situation that's transpiring in Philly will have any bearing on what Jerry does with Dak.
Yet, what has happened to the man you call walk it to him Wentz, that I've now renamed give it to him Wentz, what has happened has given Jerry the chance to privately gloat and say, I tried to tell everybody, you got to be careful. You better look before you leap on these kinds of deals.
What about with Deshaun? Should he gloat about that? Because they gave Deshaun $39 million.
What if I told you from the start, as much as I love Dak, he ain't no Deshaun. What is Deshaun doing now? Did you see what he did to Belichick's defense the other day?
Yes.
He is playing at a supremely high level. He is right there, just below Mahomes' level of performance.
Had they won some more games, he would be getting in the
He would. There's no doubt. I loved him coming out of Clemson when he nearly beat St. Nick's defense twice and got him the second time.
Yep.
He is clutch. He is mobile. He's got it all.
He got it all.
Okay, and he doesn't even have his soulmate receiver. They took him away, and he's still doing it.
They gave him a running back.
Yeah.
That's injured.
Yeah. That wasn't very good to begin with at this point in his career. Okay, so Jerry's saying you just got to watch. With the quarterback, it's the one, if you plunge on a Carson Wentz and it ain't right, you are so stuck, because even if they want to get rid of him next year, it'd be $60 million in dead money.
Spread over 2 years, so that's $30 million.
Oh. If you wait till 2022, you're still looking at almost $40 million in dead money. It's deadly to a franchise if you commit to a quarterback like this.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you don't commit, the price goes up. It's not getting any cheaper. And I don't believe Dak is going to cut them a deal, because, Skip, if you think about it, my homeboy deal, he's getting less money than all these other quarterbacks that signed in the first 3 years. That's unheard of when he's clearly the best quarterback, the best player in the game.
But he said, I want to be a Chief for life.
Right.
He got it.
Everybody else ain't thinking like that. That's Tom Brady. Tom Brady did that, took less money so we could build and build. But everybody else said, give me mine.
Okay, so I don't know exactly what to believe on all the reports, but I'm going to take sort of all of them combined, and I'm going to say that Jerry offered Dak somewhere around $36 million a year for 5 years. He wanted the extra year, and that there was somewhere around 120 guaranteed. Well, Carson Wentz got 4 years, $128 million, with the 108 guaranteed, $32 million a year. So he went up, I don't know, $3-4 million on the annual. And he went considerably up on the overall guarantee. In fact, I think Jane Slater went as high as $180 million was to be guaranteed at signing. It was a lot.
$80 million signing bonus at the time of signing.
Yeah, but I think it was that number guaranteed at signing. Yes.
The 88, he's going to get, he signed his name, Dak Prescott, $80 million out the door.
Okay, and obviously Dak, agent, that they wanted to get up in the Mahomes range. They wanted to go above $40 million. And Jerry said, too rich for even my blood, because I don't know enough yet. Okay, so I love Dak Prescott, but I don't like crazy defend him. I don't blindly defend him, because you say he deserves his money. You say Dallas would have been better than 3-7. Well, I hope they would have been a little better than 3-7 with Dak. But let's just quickly look back at what has happened to Dak Prescott. He was 6-11 in his last 17 starts. Is that worth $40+ million? Would you have plunged on that? Would you have given him 40? You said you would have.
Yeah, because if you had somebody else, you might have been 0-17 in your last 17 starts.
Okay, but it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you could really be damned if you do on this one, because let's just quickly think about what happened. He got off to a hot start last year against 3 teams you said were garbage, right?
Yeah.
And then over the last 13 games, Pro Football Focus ranked him the 15th best quarterback, and 7 times you gave Fs to him for performances at New Orleans when they scored 10 points and lost to Teddy Bridgewater 12-10.
Yep.
Green Bay, they fell behind 31-3 after in the second quarter. And what do you always tell me? You get the ball too, right?
Exactly.
So is Dak somewhat to blame for that? Yes, somewhat. At Jets, they fall behind 21-3 in the second quarter. You're rooting your guts out up at Denver, watching this game. And Dak rallies them as he always does. He's the ultimate fourth quarter warrior.
Yeah.
But they fall short 24-22 because he is a little off target with the throw to Jason Witten on a 2-point
Jason Witten
conversion.
got a touchdown the other night.
He did. Did you see that? That was a blast from the past. It was a good day for Dallas Cowboys, right? Then at New England last year, Dak scores 9 points and they lose 13-9. Against Buffalo on Thanksgiving, here we are about a year later, they're down 26-7 in the fourth quarter. And then at Chicago, they're down 24-7 after 3 quarters. And then at Philly, he scores 9 points. This is the guy who wants $40 million.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. They offered him 36. Do you believe he's going to get less or more than 36 per year moving forward?
You mean on the open market or from Dallas?
From Dallas.
I don't know. He's going to have to go up a little bit.
Exactly. So you franchise him, Skip. Now think about it. That's $38 million on your cap. There is no spreading that out over.
Okay, I believe he will be franchised a second time next year.
Yeah.
And I think Jerry's going to sit back with arms folded up in his suite up there on his throne, and he's going to say, show me. Because Dak's going to come off a pretty serious injury.
Right.
Did you lose a little bit of mobility?
Right. So, okay, he gave him what? How much was it? $31 million this year? $31 million. 38 next year. That's $69 million. Then it jumps.
This year is 34.
It's $34 million.
Yeah.
So if he gives him 38 next year, that'll be $72 million. What's the franchise tag? 51. So now you're at
No, that third year's out of bounds.
Yeah. So that's 123 over 3 years you'd have gave him. Now, if you gave him what you wanted, you could have spread that out over and boom, boom.
Okay, I got it. But you say they would be much better than 3-7 this year. Okay, now look at what happened this year. He played very well at L.A. against the Rams and came within a bad call to me of winning the game. But that was his one and only good game because then they come home. They're down 29-10 to Atlanta at halftime.
Right.
Is that good for Dak Prescott? No. At Seattle, they're down 30-15 in the third quarter. That's no good. Home Cleveland, they're down 41-14 after 3 quarters. Dak has some blame there, right?
Yeah.
And then the Giants, the game he got hurt in, they're down 17-3 to the Giants in the second quarter. Is Dak somewhat responsible?
Yep.
Well, Shannon Sharpe says absolutely. Look at the games I just gave you. Is that enough to deserve $40 million? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It is not.
Got to pay him, Skip.
6-11? Well, you want him just to wreck my salary
No, he ain't
cap.
gonna wreck your salary cap, but Skip, you're asking him to give you the 5th year when you get. So what did you give him early? So you want him to give you 5 years.
Yeah.
He wants 4 years. You got to realize when Carson Wentz gave you 4, Carson Wentz still had 2 years left on his deal.
Are you ready to say Carson Wentz is a bust?
I ain't ready to say that.
Okay. Well, how do you figure that he's got 18 turnovers right now, which are 5 clear of any other individual?
Brady coming.
And more.
Brady coming.
No, he doesn't have 18.
He coming, though.
Carson Wentz has more turnovers than 29 other teams have total.
If we're going to say Carson Wentz have regressed, can we say Doug Peterson has also regressed?
Well, if you want to spread the blame,
we
deflect the blame off the quarterback.
So what? How much credit did he get for that Super Bowl? He showed at the front of the podium up there talking about smoking a cigar, talking about Philly special, Philly special.
I told you there's just one player who scares me in the NFC least right now, and it's Jalen Hurts, the backup quarterback in Philadelphia. If he gets that job the rest of the way, I'm sunk because he will light it up.
No mercy.
Start your Thanksgiving with Undisputed. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, to preview the Cowboys' potential first-place showdown against Washington later that day on Fox at 4 p.m. Eastern. You will not want to miss it. Join us right before you dig in for Turkey Day. Well, Patrick Mahomes, well, he does get all the praise for making no-look passes. Aaron Rodgers says not so fast because others in the league have been doing it longer, and Rodgers even learned it from Packers legend and Hall of Famer Brett Favre. Take a listen.
I started doing it when I saw him doing it all the time. So I started working on practice all the time. I will say this, a guy who probably doesn't get anywhere near the credit.
Brett.
We're doing like that all the time. He wears number 9 and plays in Detroit. Okay. That dude, what he does with the ball, it's impressive.
Shannon, your guy. Do you like what Rodgers said?
Well, when it comes to the no-look pass, he's absolutely right, Skip. Brett Favre was the first that I saw do it. And Brett Favre was the first guy, Skip, that would try anything in a game. Now, we know some guys work on stuff in practice, Skip, but Brett Favre would do it in the game. Brett Favre actually did what Brady did the other night. He threw a ball that was bad, and he caught it and took off running with it. So Brett, the no-look, the underhand stuff, he threw a touchdown underhanded. So that's where, and who's his offensive coordinator? Andy Reid. That's why I think Andy liked Mahomes so much, is because he reminded him so much of Brett. Now, he doesn't have the kamikaze reckless style like Brett. Because Brett would go head first. Brett didn't care. Brett would try to run over a defensive tackle. He would try to dive from the 5-yard line to get into the end zone. But Aaron is absolutely right. I don't think people realize how good Brett was. Brett was 3 consecutive MVPs, and he would try anything, anywhere on the field. Now, it got him in trouble a lot because he put the ball in harm's way a lot. Mahomes is a lot more careful with the football, but he's absolutely right. Aaron Rodgers would throw the no-look passes. What he was referring to as far as Matthew Stafford is the arm angles, the slot in which he throws the ball. We see Mahomes do that a lot. We see Aaron Rodgers do that a lot. He said, let's not forget about the guy up in Detroit, Matthew Stafford. But that's it. Because when we're talking about the quarterback, we talk about Favre, we talk about Rodgers and Mahomes. If we're talking about arm angles and the ability to change arm angles and slots to throw the ball, okay. But that's as far as Matthew Stafford should enter into this room when we're talking about those other 3 guys.
So, when I first saw this story and then watched the highlight of his appearance on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers, I laughed and laughed and laughed because your man, Aaron Rodgers, is putting your man, Patrick Mahomes, in a tough spot here because he is calling BS on all the latecomers who are jumping on the bandwagon of Patrick Mahomes saying, he's invented the no-look. There's a guy across from me who kind of pushes that agenda here on this show, right? That narrative of... Yeah, I think so. I think
but
somebody
what about the
thinks...
jump passes? He's throwing jump passes that go for 80-yard touchdowns. Who invented that?
Well, somebody, the Hall of Famer across from me, is constantly trying to tell me that he discovered Patrick Mahomes, which I don't think he did. No. My homeboy. I don't think you're from Texas, but I don't know. I think you're from rural South Georgia, the last time I checked.
What if he could have if he could have gone to Denver?
Yep. Well, but he didn't. So the point is that I loved what Aaron Rodgers said because he's calling BS on everybody who's jumping on that bandwagon because in the end, he's saying, really, Brett invented the no-look. And I'm sure if we looked hard, we could find somebody else back in history who threw some no-look passes.
But not routinely, Skip. But also what he's doing, like, hold on. Y'all giving this dude too much credit. Y'all giving him too much shine. Hey, hold on now. Did y'all forget about your boy, folk? Did y'all forget about 12? 12 can make those throws that he's making also.
Well, this whole conversation started on the show when he said, I threw a sweet no-look late in the game.
Yes.
In which he was saying, I set up the defense for it because it took several plays for me to get there to Devontae.
Right.
Okay. So, and by the way, Aaron's really good on this show because he's just kicked back talking like they're in the locker room.
Yeah.
Right?
Joe could do that too, Skip. Joe was a guy that he'd be looking here and knowing he wants to go there, and he move the guy and throw it right there. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah, guys do it, but, and Skip, here's the thing. They didn't have the amount of cameras. Skip, everything is recorded now. They go back and play it, and you see they pretty soon they're gonna say, well, he was actually talking to Andy Reid when he threw an 80-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Skip is getting, you got to embellish it as it goes.
Okay. So you're admitting you've embellished a little bit.
No. I'm just saying, Mahomes shouldn't get credit for the no look. There were guys that were doing things like Mahomes is doing now. Brett Favre did play. It was just many, many years ago. And I think the thing is people don't really, a lot of young people don't realize that he actually played in Green Bay, Skip, because Aaron Rodgers has been there for so long.
Okay, but Aaron didn't make it just about Aaron.
Right.
Where he was trying to say, hey, I invented this back, or I learned it from Brett Favre.
Right.
Because he quickly went to Matthew Stafford, and he said he's been doing bleep like that, so he's just cursing openly on this.
I'll tell you what he hadn't been doing like that, winning. That's one thing Matthew Stafford has not been doing, is winning. And that coach, can somebody tell me how Matt Patricia still have the job, Skip?
I don't know. They just lost 20-0 to Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but Matt Stafford has been doing this for a long time, and Matt Stafford played baseball at a very high level, along with Clayton Kershaw at Highland Park High School. They were battery mates, obviously, and pitcher-catcher. So the point is that Matt Stafford doesn't get nearly enough credit for what he does because they don't win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Mahomes wasn't winning, he wouldn't be getting no credit either.
Yep.
Because, I mean, think about all the seasons that Drew threw for 5,000 yards, but they were going 6-10, or they're 7-9, and nobody cared about that. It wasn't until he started winning that people started like, well, hold on, look at Drew, man. Look what Drew doing. Drew deserved to get some credit. But Skip, look, I get it. And sometimes we forget, the term you like to coin, prisoner of the moment. We think that the guy that's doing something, he's the only guy that's ever done what he's doing. No, there have been other guys that do it. But Mahomes is phenomenal, Skip. Let's not minimize what he's doing now. Because he can do some things that, Brett could do it, but not
okay, I give you phenomenal, but I don't give you invention. No. He didn't invent all these things.
No, Skip, I mean, hold on. Edison invented the light bulb, but there have been people that have made it brighter, that expanded on it. Now they have, you know what I'm saying, Skip? So we're going to give Edison his credit. We're going to give him that. But they made it brighter. You know what I'm saying? He didn't invent these pads, but he made it.
So you're saying that Patrick Mahomes is a better no-look passer than Brett Favre was?
Yep.
I say wrong baloney.
And I'm going to say when it's all said and done, he's going to be a better quarterback than all of them were. That's what he's going to be.
Well, he's got a long way to go. Is he going to play, what, 20 more years?
He might not even need to play for about 10.
Really?
He might not even need to play for 10, but the way he's going.
Really?
Another MVP? Another Super Bowl MVP?
So if he's only going to play 10 years, you're predicting that he's going to go to 8 more Super Bowls?
Skip, we're not going to skip. It might not be a situation where he get more than, because there are a lot of guys that have more titles than Jordan. But if he goes 5 for 5 with 5 MVPs, or he goes 4 for 4 with 4 MVPs and 3 or 4 regular season Super Bowls, and a couple of these, because he's on pace to be right at 5,000 passing yards, Skip. You know, did you know he lead the league in passing? I didn't know that till I looked yesterday. And he's 27-2. So he's on pace to go 40 and 5,000 after going 5,050. I don't know, Skip.
Yet Sunday night at Las Vegas, he's playing against a defense that had 10 players on the COVID list all week and lost 3 starters for the game, and it took him till the bitter end to pull the game out.
And he got the 11 that played on defense had to sit on ice for the next 2 days because he put foots in them.
Really? Huh. Well, you better be careful putting foots in people with COVID.
He got something for your guy, number 12, too.
Yeah.
He going to show you once and for all. Because you know what he did to him last time, right? You know what he did last time in your house.
Really?
He going to come to your house again.
Well, I just hope he throws a no-look pass right to Devin White for a pick 6. That tends to happen to really good quarters when they go to Tampa Bay. This guy who was speaking here, he threw almost 2 pick 6s.
And your guy, you're made up for it. Because you just... So, can you go on record now? Who's playing better, Tom Brady or Mahomes?
Well, right now, at this moment, since you're prisoner of the moment, I'd have to give it to Mahomes.
So you think Tom Brady has had a comparable season?
Body of work.
No. I'm talking about a body of season. I'm talking about body of season. I'm talking about just this year, 2020.
Okay. Who played better at Las Vegas? I think Tom Brady did.
Skip, the thing is that Tom has 3 bad games that's worse than any game that my homeboy has ever played. In his life.
Ever played in his life.
Has Mahomes ever played a game as bad as what he played against New Orleans? Tom Brady played against New Orleans. Has Mahomes had in his short career? I know it's short. He do one of these old floppers. But has he ever in 3 years had a game as bad as what Tom Brady played against New Orleans?
Well, the better question is, Has Tom Brady ever thrown 2 second-half interceptions in a Super Bowl and been down 20-10 while throwing those 2 interceptions?
My guy's never lost a Super Bowl. Yeah. My guy ain't never lost a Super Bowl. He don't even know what that feel like. He don't know what it feel like not to have the confetti rain down on him on his colors. Like me, I don't know what that light, Skip. I wonder what it feel like for somebody
that
not
is
to...
something, Shannon, that you can always say, you will never know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like to lose. That's so
Oh, you
true.
can actually lose the Super Bowl? I didn't know that. I thought everybody won.
If only I
thought
could say
everybody
like
won
that.
the Super Bowl.
No mercy.
Bruce Arians, though, has continued to publicly state that Tom Brady performs much better in practices than in games. After the Bucs lost to the Rams, Arians said, quote, "We don't miss the deep ball in practice, that's for sure." He also said that the receivers are getting open but are being missed. Former Pro Bowl cornerback Antonio Cromartie is now with us. But first, now, Skip, you have some thoughts about Crow's time under Arians in Arizona?
I do. I would like to remind everybody that our man Antonio Cromartie played under Bruce Arians at Arizona for 1 year in 2014, and it was some year. Cardinals went 11-5. Our man Crow made the Pro Bowl. So did Patrick Peterson made the Pro Bowl. That was a top 5 defense under Todd Bowles, now obviously in Tampa. And Carson Palmer went 6-0, got hurt. Drew Stanton went 5-3 and got hurt. And Crow wound up with a quarterback named Ryan Lindley for a playoff game at Carolina, and they lost that game, just for the perspective of this. So, Antonio, you know BA, as everybody calls him, and we would like to know, because we are debating it this hot and heavy here today.
All right, let's go.
Is Bruce Arians out of bounds? Is it inbounds or out of bounds for him to be scathingly critical of Tom Brady after each of their 4 losses?
No, it's not. And I say that because he was the same way with Carson Palmer. And, you know, he's not a guy that's gonna hold his tongue. He's not gonna bite his tongue. But I gotta say this, you know, practice and game is totally different, especially now in the way you're paying these guys so much money to move forward and everything else. So when you're looking at it, you can't sit here and think about it as, oh, he's making those throws in practice. He don't have people at his feet. He don't have people in his face where he's getting hit. He has more time in practice where he can complete those passes, and that's not happening. And when you look at it, when we're not competing on deep balls because we don't want to get our feet tangled and guys get hurt.
Exactly.
So we're not going to do that. So when you have that game in practice, it's going to look totally different. But these guys are out here competing to make sure your guys don't catch the ball.
That's what I was telling Skip. I said the thing is with practice, they're not rushing Tom Brady. They're not trying to get after Tom Brady. They get close, they pull up because they don't want him to come through, hit his hand on their helmet. They don't want to do anything to interfere with Tom. And so now you get a false sense, you get the lull, you get to thinking like, okay, it's going to be that easy. But then you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Jack Rabbit, you got Marshawn Lattimore. Their guys are going to compete. It's not going to be easy because, Crow, you know, when you go 7-on-7 a team, you getting scout team, you getting the backups. Those are not the... Now, in 2 minutes, we win against our defense in the 2-minute drill. Always 2 minutes, we win against the starters. But everybody else, there was really nobody starting out there. So you can't say because, well, he goes this and he did this in practice, well, it automatically equates to the ball game. That's not how it worked. And you're absolutely right, Crow. On deep balls, you're not competing because the last thing you want to do is get somebody hurt. We're not diving for balls in practice because I'm not going to injure my shoulder in practice. Now, I'll dive for a ball in the game. And so, BA, at some point in time, you got to say, you know what? Give the other team credit. It's always what we didn't do. You were going against someone, and listen, I understand that you don't want to make it about you, but you're making it about you by saying, the reason why we're not doing it, my offense is fine. You saw the number Jameis put up. And he's supposed to be this GOAT. Why can't he do it? Bruh, you're asking him to do something that he hadn't done in his entire career, which is push the ball down the field consistently and accurately.
2007. He did it accurately during 2007 when he had Randy Moss.
The man in the league for 21 years, Crow. You took 1 year.
That was the only time he did it.
Exactly.
Everything else was dink and dunk. Let me get the ball out quickly. And we're going to move the ball above beyond the sticks every single time.
Right.
I'm going to take what you give me. I'm going to move the ball that way. And if I have an opportunity, maybe a trick play, whatever it may be, then I will push the ball down the field. But I'm not a guy that's going to be pushing the ball down the field consistently because I am a guy that's going to take what the defense gives me and I'm gonna make you pay that way. When Brady was in New England, it was all about defenses making mistakes.
Right.
And Bruce Arians' offense is I'm gonna play action. I'm gonna run the ball, play action, and get the ball down the field. Tom Brady's not used to that. Something that he hasn't done since 2007. Really, is push the ball down the field. So now you're looking for a guy to push the ball down the field that hasn't done it, like you said, Shannon, consistently in his career. I would rather see them get the running game going where he can actually get the chance of picking and choosing where he wants to go and pick the mismatches where he needs to go to, and he's not doing that. You don't see that in this offense. Bruce Arians' offense is not built that way. And he says, like he said, he came out and said, in the article, he was saying that he's picking the plays that he wants. But what plays are you really picking? Every time he's picking the play, it's the ball to push the ball down the field. It's not a chance to move the sticks, get here. It's chunk plays. And that's the thing what hurt us in Arizona. Everything was built off chunk plays. If we didn't get chunk plays, we weren't going to win the game.
Well, just the old adage, Skip, like Henry Ford said, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. With Tom, you can have any play you want as long as you throw the ball deep.
That is true.
What good is that, Skip?
So let me tell both of you guys why Bruce Arians deeply offends me, why he angers me. It's because I have covered this game a lot longer than either of you two guys played it combined. And I learned from Bill Walsh and Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson, there's one position in all of sports you do not criticize publicly as a head coach. It's quarterback because it's so hard to play. It's the hardest position to play in all of sports. You have to leave it be because if you dare to publicly criticize your quarterback, you're going to send a message to the locker room, I don't trust him and neither should you. And I keep asking, as much as I know you like B.A., what has he done to deserve to criticize the GOAT? What has he accomplished in his career? We know he coached Carson Palmer, and he coached Peyton, he coached Luck, and he coached Big Ben. But the first three guys I named were the first pick in the draft, and Ben should have been the first pick in his draft. He went 11th. Well, does that make Bruce Arians a great coach? No, it does not.
Skip, you came to me. I was minding my business over here in Tampa on the Gulf of Mexico. You came to me.
Yeah. And maybe Tom's having second thoughts about what he chose to do. Maybe he should have gone to the Chargers, or maybe he should have gone elsewhere.
But Skip, look at this. This is what I want you to think about. You got to think about over Bruce Arians' career. He's criticized every single quarterback that he's had. No matter how great you may be, he's criticized every single quarterback. That's just how Bruce Arians is because he expects for more from his quarterbacks.
Okay, but help me out. What is he accomplishing by criticizing his quarterback except to say, don't blame me, don't look at me? He pulls them off in practice every day.
But we all know how practice ain't how
I got it.
It's 7-on-7 in practice every single time.
Okay, but he is now suggesting that Tom Brady is choking under the brightest lights in these big night games.
Well, hey, he hasn't played great under the lights.
Yeah. And plus, Crow, what do we do in practice? We call the play. We've already scripted the defense that we want you in.
You got to think about it. The plays that they're running against, they're scripting those plays from what they see from the Rams or whoever else the Saints have ran. So they're only getting what they're doing. And they're telling guys to go, West, I want you to play this kind of technique, jump this route. We're going to jump this route. That doesn't always happen.
Right.
So you got to play the game how it's supposed to be played.
And the thing is, Tom is used to Skip. The reason why he has such a great relationship with Antonio Brown is Antonio Brown run extremely great routes. It's quick, get your ball in his hands, let AB take off. But he's trying to use AB pushing him down the field. And you look at the first quarter, Crow, everybody was playing off. But once they closed that distance, they started putting hands on people, and Brady couldn't go to AB right away, or he couldn't go to Mike Evans right away, and he had to pull the ball down, and people started getting at his feet. The ball started coming out there. Those interceptions were not misreads. He didn't misread the defense. He was just getting rid of that ball because he felt that pressure was going to come. He should have never thrown those two balls.
So, Crow, I'm going to defend Tom Brady in one way. Through the first 8 games of this NFL season, he led this whole league in what are called big-time throws, completions of 20 or more yards. Since then, he's gone into a funk slump where he can't complete any deep balls. And what has that coincided with? The addition of a young man with a huge personality who really wants the football a whole lot during games and tells Tom that. That is Antonio Brown that you just mentioned. Okay, so all of a sudden, Brady's up against the New Orleans pass rush that can get you with 4 and the Rams pass rush that can get you with 4, while he's trying to speed read. He's got 2 Pro Bowl receivers on the outside. He's got Gronk, one of his best friends in the world and a soulmate of his. And he's got Cameron Brate, who he's starting to fall in love with as the tight end he trusts the most. And wait a second, you're throwing Antonio Brown into a mix, and you're replacing little Scotty Miller, who is also becoming a favorite of Tom on deep balls.
He was.
Well, yeah, he was. Well, he's not even in the rotation anymore. So help me out. How hard is that? The degree of difficulty just went off the charts for 2 big night games on a Sunday and Monday night at Tampa, and he didn't play very well.
Tom requested AB.
He did?
He wanted it. You can't get mad at the man gave you what you wanted. You should have left well enough alone. Skip, you had plenty. Look how you were playing before you got AB.
Because he saw the light at the end of the tunnel was that if we could ever make this click,
yes,
I got firepower that nobody's going to have, right? Well, he's thinking of going and winning the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Ain't about the firepower, though.
Yeah.
About creating that relationship and having that consistency throughout the whole entire year. And honestly, if you watch the first 10 plays of the game, I think they threw Antonio Brown 4 times in the first 10 to 15 plays of the game. So was it trying to get him going? Was it trying to get the offense going? So like, my thing is, and Bruce Arians always say, well, I'm not going to make sure he's going to do what he's supposed to do. But it seems to me is they're trying to get Antonio Brown the ball more to get him more involved into the offense rather than spreading the ball around to the guys that's already been there. He has a great relationship with that he's been throwing the ball to consistently in the first 8 weeks.
But if you look at Tom Brady, the games that he's played really well, what have they been able to do, Skip? Run the ball.
Well, that's with anybody, okay?
Let Tom run the ball and play action off it.
Okay. So, Crow, last quick question. Are you ready to say that Tom Brady is washed up?
No.
No?
I'm not ready to say that he's washed up. I just think that the system that he's running with Bruce Arians, it doesn't fit him well, and they need to get back to what they always do.
Yeah, let him do what he does. But the days of Tom Brady does more with less, now Tom Brady is doing less with more, because it's hard for me to see somebody that has more offensive weapons than Tom Brady, and he ain't doing a lot with it.
You ever heard of too much of a good thing?
Yeah, I do. Well, he requested it. You asked for this big reception. Now use it.
Getting riled up. Crow, we appreciate your time today. Thank you. Good insight on
No
BA.
mercy.
Well, how about this? Start your Thanksgiving with Undisputed. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern to preview the Cowboys' potential first-place showdown against Washington. Later that day on Fox at 4 p.m. Eastern. You will not want to miss it. We're waking up to celebrate Thanksgiving together, and I hope you join us as well. It should be an extra special show. Well, Brandon Ingram is the latest young NBA star to receive a max deal this offseason. Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, and De'Aaron Fox have also all signed 5-year max deals with their respective teams. So, Shannon, which of those 5 young players who just got a max deal would you most want to build a team around?
Skip, all these guys are phenomenal. But if you tell me I can only get one of them, taking Jason Tatum. The month before the season started, he was 29-5 that last month. For the playoffs, he's 26, 10.5, and 5 assists in the playoffs. And this is what LeBron James said about Jason Tatum. Make sure I got this right. A technician offensively, an absolute problem after he dropped that 41 on him on that Sunday. But LeBron had to say, come on now, cuz. you know what time it is. Skip, he's 22. Skip, I mean, you watched him in the playoffs. He's getting better and better and better. And like I said, I love B.I. B.I. needed to get his own team. Saw Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, Skip. He was phenomenal. But if you tell me I can only have one of these guys, I'm taking Jason Tatum because he can do so much.
So if I had to pick someone that I want to watch, I'm going Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
And when I start looking at this draft, and they're all in the same draft, I look at Donovan Mitchell went 13th in this draft. That's looking like more and more of an all-time steal.
Skip, I watched
right?
him at Louisville. Skip, I didn't see this.
I didn't either. I would agree with that. And by the way, one pick before Donovan Mitchell at number 12 was Luke Kennard, the latest, the newest Clipper star. And he's starting to live up to his 12th pick in the draft.
What did Michael Jordan pick in that draft? Who he get?
The who?
Michael Jordan.
I don't know. I'd have to find. That's a good point. Where is Charlotte? I'll find it in a second. But your man, Jason Tatum, went 3rd overall in that draft. There was one even bigger steal in that draft than Donovan Mitchell was, and that's at 14 was Bam went straight to Pat Riley. And it might be the all-time coup for Pat Riley. I know he did once upon a time get LeBron to take his talents to South Beach,
Right.
and as far as a free agent signing, that would be the biggest coup.
Right.
But in this case, I'm going to go Bam over Jason Tatum because Bam has become the heart and soul of that franchise. He has become the leader and the cornerstone, the aircraft carrier for that whole franchise, and I think it will get nothing but better.
Right.
And to me, the symbol of Bam over Jason Tatum literally happened at the rim at the end of Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
block.
There it is.
No, that's
That's just Bam. Here we go. This is the end of, this is 3 seconds left, and Jason says, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to slam. No, you're not going to slam this. And he bent his fingers back and had enough hand strength, left hand, to fight the ball off
Well,
and
all
block
around
it.
players, Bam is the best, Skip, because he can play defense. He's a very sound defensive player, but he doesn't
is.
give you the offensive.
Okay,
If I'm not
but
mistaken, Malik Monk went to Charlotte.
Yeah, I believe he did. I'll find that in just a second. But the point is, he was definitely in this draft. Yeah, Malik was 11 to Charlotte. Okay. He's had some issues off the court, and he's having problems. Okay.
He has some issues on the court,
Yes,
too.
he has. I agree. So Bam last year went 15, 10, and 5 assists. Nobody put up those kind of numbers this side of Giannis, okay? So, and that's the first time any Heat player in the history of the Heat has put up those kind of 15, 10, and 5.
Right.
So, again, to me, biggest picture, I'm going to take Bam as the leader of the franchise because, listen, Jason impressed me through the year, but when he got to the Eastern Conference Finals, he struggled from 3. He shot 31% from 3.
Yeah.
He struggled, remember, in Game 6, which became the closeout game, he had a rough time. He got hot later.
Oh, he
but
started cooking.
He got off to a horrendous start, and he wound up 9 of 26 from the field, which wasn't quite good enough to get them home to a Game 7.
Yeah, but Skip, I'm still taking this kid. This kid, offensively, he can do it. He can do it. Brandon Ingram shows, Skip, and that I think that's the thing that's hurting Kuzma. Because Kuzma see what these guys are doing on their own. But you and I both know B.I.'s not doing this with AD and LeBron. Jason Tatum's not doing this with AD and LeBron. Donovan Mitchell's not doing this with AD and LeBron. Bam, he might, because Bam is really not, trying to go out there and get 20 points. So he still might be able to put up numbers. But you have to look at your situation and says, okay, look where I'm at and look where they're at. They have their own team, so they're going to get more points offensively. Cool. Your time is coming, Cool. Just be patient. But I'm taking Jason Tatum, Skip. After watching him, what he did this last in the playoffs and watching what he was doing before the season stopped, yeah, I'm convinced. And I don't really like Duke players because I'm Carolina through and through.
Okay, but the late, great Kobe Bryant was mentoring Jason. And
Yeah.
he's got some Kobe in him. He's trying to adopt some of his moves.
Yeah, Tatum was hitting that fall away. He can hit the fade away. But I'm taking Tatum.
I didn't see this Jason Tatum at Duke either, so I will give you that. But in overall firepower on both ends and in leadership off the court, listen, as you like to say about St. Nick, he's got a stinker going on. I think Pat Riley's about to have a stinker going on.
He built something down there.
Right.
But just think about, Skip, Brandon Ingram left. Just imagine him and Jason Tatum. If they stay another year, but get Zion coming up in that thing.
At Duke.
Yeah, Duke.
Yeah. Oh. Firepower. But this draft, it was hit and miss because Markelle Fultz, I'm not sure if he's ever going to live up as the number 1 overall. Still, jury's still out about Lonzo. I think he can still be great.
Yeah, but he still, even if he is great, will he be better than Tatum? Will he be better than Donovan Mitchell, even if he gets better?
And then it starts to miss a little bit. Josh Jackson, then De'Aaron Fox back up.
Yep.
Jonathan Isaac's been okay. Lauri Markkanen's been hurt.
Yeah, but when he was healthy,
Yeah.
Skip, he's been cooking.
Neil Aquina, I don't know. It's another Knick pick. And now with the Knicks is Dennis Smith, right?
Yeah, no.
No mercy.
Well, growing up In Ohio, it's well known that LeBron has been a lifelong Buckeyes fan and has tweeted previously about Chase Young's performances at Ohio State. Guys, he was watching my game with them last week. Now that Young is playing for Washington, he will face LeBron's favorite NFL team, the Cowboys, on Thanksgiving Day. Young told reporters this week that he's looking forward to LeBron watching the game. So, Shannon, do you think LeBron will be rooting for the Cowboys or for Chase Young?
Yeah, which is it?
You already know, Skip. That joke is... Ohio runs deep for LeBron James.
Oh, does it?
It does. Well, Ohio State runs deeper. I believe Ohio State. That's something about that block. Oh, he did the custom cleats for Ohio State. So there's no question in my mind he's going to be rooting for Chase Young. He's out on the Cowboys, which I don't blame him.
He's out on the Cowboys?
Yep.
So all I've ever heard is that LeBron James has been a lifelong Cowboy fan since he was a little kid. He's a Cowboy fan. While growing up in the shadow of the Cleveland Browns, I don't get that.
I do.
Is this the ultimate front runner? Front running again?
That's his boy.
So, wait a second. The bandwagon's not rolling for Dallas anymore, so he's off, and now he's on the Arizona Cardinals bandwagon, right?
Chase Young is a client of what?
I don't know.
Clutch.
You
didn't know that? Yeah.
I didn't. Well, it seems like everybody is. I think you're a clutch client, aren't you?
No, I'm not a clutch client.
Yeah.
Hey, he going to be cheering for Chase. I will be cheering for Chase, too.
Okay, so here's what LeBron
Live up to that
would
name.
do.
Chase him down, Chase.
Yeah, if the Dallas Cowboys win a second straight game, I figure he'll be back on the bandwagon. He'll be tweeting, posting about how about them Cowboys, right?
I don't know about that.
He grew up as a Cowboy fan, but he grew out of it.
But if Washington wins, it'll be all about Chase Young.
I've been a fan of his since he was a freshman with the Buckeyes. Good stuff today, guys. We are back tomorrow morning. A special Thanksgiving Undisputed. Don't go anywhere. We've got Xavier Oakland next.